Okay, let's talk about this story. Imagine a life that looks, well, perfect from the outside. Huge wealth, family, an amazing invention, all the luxuries you could possibly want. And then, just like that, it's all violently, brutally taken away. What's left is this mystery. So confusing, it took 15 years to figure out.
15 years, wow.
Yeah. We're talking about a cold case from this super secure, wealthy area in Newport Beach, California. The killer left basically nothing obvious behind, no clues right away, no clear suspects, just silence. It haunted investigators for like over a decade.
That's often how these things go, isn't it? Cold cases.
Totally. But here's the kicker, the thing that finally broke it all open.
Yeah.
It was one single, totally ordinary object. A simple key.
It's fascinating, really. It just shows that in these complex cases, especially the cold ones, the biggest clues are often hiding right there in plain sight.
Yeah.
Disguised as something completely mundane.
Right. Not some big confession.
No, exactly. It usually comes down to persistence, doesn't it? Going back over the evidence, maybe with new eyes, or like you said, new technology that just wasn't around back then. This story, it really sets the stage for, well, deception, incredible greed, and this long, slow unraveling. Shows how even the most secure seeming lives can be just incredibly fragile.
That's so true. And to really get this story, we need to start with the man himself. William Bill McCollum. Born in Chicago, wealthy family, disciplined upbringing. Apparently he was incredibly bright and intellectual prodigy.
Loved books, thought differently.
Yeah, always inventing things. He did a stint in the Navy, then got a biology degree, later an MBA. Just kept learning.
He sounds like the classic success story, driven by his brain, really, not just chasing money. And that led him to this huge invention, the plasma cell separator.
Right, he developed that with his friend John Carolyn.
And it became essential, used in blood banks all over the country. They sold the rights, and boom, by 1986, Bill's a millionaire, living that California dream,
Oh yeah, piloting his own jet, captaining his own yacht, huge house in Newport Beach, private dock.
Hearts.
An impressive life, no doubt.
And by all accounts, a good family man, too. Married Susan Cohnhorst back in '66, had 3 kids, Kimberly, Jennifer, and Kevin. Seemed like a solid family unit, but you know how it goes sometimes, especially with that kind of money. Things changed. After 24 years, Bill and Susan got divorced. Infidelity on his part.
Wow.
Yeah, he was in his 50s, still looked good, apparently, and the wealth. Well, it attracted attention. His kids were really affected by the divorce, understandably.
And this is where, the whole dynamic of relationships and wealth gets really interesting and maybe complicated.
Definitely. So, Bill meets this woman, Nanette Packard. He saw her ad in a men's magazine.
An ad? Seriously?
Yep. She was 25, described herself as single, educated, adventurous, and specifically looking for a wealthy, older guy to take care of her.
Wow. That's direct.
Right. And Bill, who was 51, fell for her just from the picture and description. Never even met her at first, just started writing to her. It does raise questions, doesn't it? About manipulation, maybe. When one person's looking for money and the other's looking for companionship. Nanette, she'd been divorced before, had 2 kids, presented herself as this really good mom.
And Bill just completely fell for it. He doted on Nanette, on her kids, treated them like they were his own, flew them around on the jet, took them on the yacht, moved them into his huge Newport Beach house.
Wow, full integration.
Totally.
Yeah.
And in 1994, Bill proposed to her.
Okay. And the family, his kids.
Oh, they were not happy. Susan, Kimberly, Jennifer, Kevin, they strongly disapproved. Saw her as a gold digger, basically. A courtesan, they called her.
Ouch.
Bill apparently knew she needed money, but he felt her caring for him was worth it. He gave her everything, cars, expenses for the kids, you name it. He really trusted her, so they never even fought.
It sounds almost too perfect, in a way.
Yeah, maybe. But before we get to the night itself, there's another really important piece here involving Bill's son, Kevin. Back in 1991, Kevin had a terrible skateboarding accident.
Oh, no.
Yeah, severe brain injury. It really messed with his speech, his mobility. He ended up needing a tracheotomy, the opening in the neck.
Right, to help him breathe and speak.
Exactly. He had to use a voice device. It was incredibly frustrating for him, led to some struggles, alcohol dependence even. Bill tried to help, got him into AA. Eventually, Kevin moved into Bill's Newport Beach house. So he was living there with Bill, Nanette, and her kids.
Okay, so that sets the scene within the house.
Right. So now we get to December 15, 1994. Around 9 p.m., Kevin calls 911. He's panicked, can barely get words out, but he keeps saying, "Father, Father.
Heartbreaking.
Police rush over. This place is super secure, remember. Gated community, code for the gate, key for the front door. When they get there, they find a key jammed in the front door lock. And an identical key is lying right there on the ground beside it.
That's odd. 2 keys.
Very odd. Inside, in the kitchen, they find Kevin. He's holding his dad's body, just sobbing. Bill's been shot 6 times. 9mm. Hit vital organs. It looked like a professional job.
6 times. That's brutal.
And specific. Kevin, through his distress, managed to tell them he heard the shots from upstairs.
Yeah.
He described it like shots, pause, more shots, pause, more shots.
Whoop.
Then he struggled to get downstairs.
Okay.
The police checked everything. No sign of forced entry, no weird fingerprints or footprints, no weapon anywhere. They tested Kevin for gunshot residue, GSR,
Yeah, the particles left when you fire a gun.
Right. It came back negative. Nothing on Kevin.
Okay, so that immediately shifts things, doesn't it? No forced entry, no GSR on Kevin. It points away from a random break-in. It suggests someone Bill knew, someone who had a key or was let in.
Exactly.
And the professional nature of the shooting. 6 shots, vital organs. That feels targeted, deliberate, not like some random robbery gone wrong. The killer took the weapon too. Very clean, in a chilling way.
Right. Then about an hour later, around 10 p.m., Nanette gets home with her kids. She seems shocked, grief-stricken when she finds out what happened. They test her for GSR too. Also negative. Her alibi. She says she was 30 miles away, watching her son's football game with her ex-husband, Kevin Johnston. Then went Christmas shopping. She even left a note for Bill on the kitchen counter saying she'd be home late.
And the police confirmed the note was there.
Yeah, they found the note. So her alibi seemed okay on the surface.
Okay.
So police started looking at others. Bill's ex-wife, Susan.
Yeah.
200 miles away, and really no motive. They were still good friends, co-parenting.
Right.
His business partner, John Carillon, 150 miles away, solid alibi.
Yeah, there was this legal thing where Bill owed him $9 million, but everyone friends, Bill's brother, said they were super close, friends for life. And John didn't have a key anyway. The lawsuit was just business.
Okay, so that seems unlikely too.
Bill's daughters. Kimberly was in Japan, Jennifer was traveling, both had airtight alibis, neighbors heard the shots, but no arguments beforehand. And they all said Kevin adored his father, wouldn't hurt him. Wow. So it really is a case of dead ends right off the bat.
Yeah.
You've got people with possible connections, maybe even perceived motives, but everyone seems to have an alibi or lack the means, like the key.
Exactly.
No wonder it went cold. Just conflicting info, nothing solid to grab onto. Must have been agony for the family.
Oh, absolutely. 15 years. Can you imagine? 15 years went by, no arrests. The case was basically put on a shelf, gathering dust.
Just waiting.
But then, 2007, everything changes. New forensic tech, a fresh look by the authorities. They decide to pull everything out, re-examine every single piece of evidence, every
A
statement.
true cold case review.
And that's when they looked again at the keys. Remember the 2 keys at the door?
Yeah, the one jammed in the lock, the one on the ground.
They realized one was the original key,
Yeah.
but the other one, the one stuck in the lock, it was a duplicate, a fresh one. The edges were too sharp, looked brand new.
Ah, a new detail.
A huge detail. They traced that duplicate key back to an ACE hardware in South Pasadena. And guess what they found in the score's records and surveillance?
Let me guess. Someone unexpected.
The person who made the copy.
Yeah.
A guy named Eric Naposki. And suddenly, Eric's alibi didn't look so solid anymore. He was right back in the center of it all.
Wow. That is the power of persistence, isn't it? And technology catching up. That tiny detail about the key's sharpness, it changes everything. It really is about patience, trusting that the small things matter. That key was like a silent witness just waiting.
Totally. So who was this Eric Naposki? Born 66, big guy, former NFL player, Patriots, Colts, Cowboys, Jets.
Okay, professional athlete.
Yeah, but an ankle injury ended his career. He ended up working security at a nightclub called Thunderbird. That's where he officially met Nanette, though they'd apparently seen each other at a gym before that.
Okay.
Now, when police first talked to him after the murder, Eric claimed he and Nat were just friends.
Just friends, right.
His alibi, remember, was being at the football game with Nanette, dropping her off, then making a call from a payphone. It was a store about 13 miles, maybe a 20-minute drive, from Bill's house. He made the call at 8:52 p.m. The timing was supposed to make it impossible for him to be at Bill's by 9 p.m. for the shooting.
Seemed tight, yeah. Calculated.
But here's something else. During that initial questioning, police asked him if he owned a 9mm gun. First, he said no, absolutely not, just a small .380 pistol.
Denied it, flat out.
But then, just 45 minutes later, in the same interview, he suddenly admitted, "Oh yeah, I do own a Beretta 9mm.
Whoa, that's a huge inconsistency, and it's the exact caliber used to kill Bill. How did the original investigators miss that?
Great question. It seems like a massive oversight back then. He basically told them he had the murder weapon caliber.
Incredible.
Then comes another piece of witness, Susan Hogan. She used to be Eric's neighbor. And her information, also overlooked originally.
What did she say?
She told the new investigators that Eric had told her he was dating Nanette. And he was really angry because, according to Nanette, Bill was molesting her.
Molesting her? Whoa, did anyone else corroborate that?
No, it seems like something Nanette told Eric to manipulate him, fuel his anger. Because she also told Eric other stories, like that she and Bill were just roommates or business partners. Total lies. Eric even told Susan Hogan he wanted to blow up Bill's plane.
Good grief, he was enraged.
Apparently. And the most chilling part, after the murder, Susan asked Eric point blank, "Did you do it?" He apparently joked back, "It was me, wasn't it?"
Joked about it. That's deeply disturbing.
Right, just casually admitting it, almost.
So now you have the key duplicate, the admission about the 9mm gun, this neighbor's testimony about the relationship and Eric's anger, and the whole timeline starts to look different. It all starts to converge, doesn't it?
Exactly. It wasn't just one thing. It was all these pieces finally clicking together after years apart.
It really shows how hard it is to keep a complex web of lies straight forever. The little inconsistencies, the overlooked comments, they eventually surface.
And Nanette's deception was right at the heart of it. Turns out she'd been playing both Bill and Eric since 1991. Neither guy knew about the other, really.
Wow. For years.
Eric thought they were serious. They were even looking at houses together just a month before the murder. But then Bill dies, and what does Nanette do? Within a day, she starts embezzling money. Over $200,000 right away, more than $500,000 total. Forging Bill's signature.
$500,000. Unbelievable greed.
She got caught for that embezzlement in 96. Did 6 months in prison. And that's actually when Eric found out the truth that Nanette wasn't just Bill's roommate, she was his fiancée. He realized how badly she'd lied to him, manipulated him.
That must have been a shock. It just lays bare how that kind of wealth can attract such calculated deception. Bill was smart, successful, but maybe blinded by what he wanted to see in Nanette.
Seems like it.
And she didn't just want the money. She used Eric's feelings, his anger, maybe his sense of wanting to protect her to get what she wanted. Deeply manipulative.
So the police theory became pretty clear. Nanette drives Eric to Bill's house that night. Eric uses that duplicate key. The new sharp one gets inside, shoots Bill 6 times.
Bland, cold-blooded.
Then they split up. Go create their alibis. Nanette to the mall. Eric to that payphone to make the call at 8:52 p.m. A coordinated effort.
Driven by her greed and his manipulated rage and maybe misplaced love.
It seemed to fit all the pieces. So after this massive reinvestigation, 2 years of digging from 2007 to 2009, they finally arrested both Nanette Packard and Eric Naposki in May 2009. First-degree murder.
15 years later, justice finally catching up.
Both of them insisted they were innocent. Nanette actually had another husband by then, William McHugh. He supported her at first.
Really?
Yeah, but then he heard all the evidence in court. He divorced her in 2010. In 2012, the trials concluded. Both Nanette Packard and Eric Naposki were found guilty. Sentenced to life in prison, no chance of parole.
Wow. That closure, even after so long, must have meant so much to Bill's family. It really speaks to the dedication of those cold case investigators, doesn't it? Never giving up.
Absolutely. But the emotional cost was still huge. Bill's daughters, Kimberly and Jennifer, they talked about their relief, finally getting justice. But there's such a sad part to this.
What's that?
Bill's son, Kevin, the one who found him. He died in 1999, drowned while surfing in Hawaii.
Oh, no. So he never saw them convicted?
Never saw it. Just awful. Today, Nanette and Eric are still in prison in California, still say they're innocent. Eric points the finger at Nanette. Nanette claims she'd still be with Bill if he were alive, that nobody loved her or her kids like he did.
Still trying to paint a certain picture.
Apparently. She's 56 now, volunteers training dogs in prison. Says she still hopes to get out, go home to her kids. Her adult children actually visit her. They seem to believe she's innocent of the murder, though they're obviously sad she's locked up.
It's just a tragic story all around, isn't it? It really shows the devastating impact of greed and deceit. How deep people can sink when driven by those motives, and how a life like Bill McCollum's, seemingly so perfect, could be utterly destroyed by the choices of the people closest to him. The ripple effects just go on for decades.
Yeah, it's been quite a story to unpack. All the twists and turns, from this baffling cold case to finally understanding what happened years later. It's chilling, really.
It really is, and it stands as this powerful reminder, I think, about truth, how it can endure, and how even the tiniest piece of evidence, like that freshly cut key, can eventually unlock a huge conspiracy, but also the incredibly heavy price everyone pays in the end.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Maybe it's just something to think about, the layers of why people do what they do and the power sometimes of just patiently uncovering the truth no matter how long it takes.
Well said.
All right, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning. And hey, if you enjoyed this story and want to hear more like it, please do us a favor. Like this episode, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs. It really helps us out.
Thanks, everyone. See you next time.